Welcome to Power Monday, where your Mondays will never be blue again. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Power Monday, where your Mondays will never be blue again. As always, my name is Taufik, and if this is your first time tuning in, Power Monday is ERA's original podcast where we bring in the best of the best to share their real life journeys, the strategies that kept them through, and the best practices for success. So if you guys are looking for your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration, we're here for you on Mondays 10 a.m. And if you guys would like to tune in to us on Spotify, we'll also be available on ERA SG Spotify as well as One ERA YouTube. Now, in this Power Monday special edition, we are going to be talking to our ERA management staff, and for today, he holds a particularly special place at ERA during his current role as ERA's Chief Financial Officer. Did you know that this guest took on an auctioneer role for 2 years and also 8 years as a data protection officer? With over 24 years of experience in accounting and finance and 13 years of dedication to ERA, he has become an invaluable leader in financial matters. So without further ado, please welcome to the Power Monday studio, our CFO, Chee, Yong.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Taufik. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So today we're going to talk about stepping out of your comfort zone. So before we talk into that topic, maybe Yong, you want to share, because I rarely have like proper conversations with you or something. So I don't know much about you, right? So maybe, wow, look at you guys can see from this perspective, he's there very, very scary. Okay, so maybe you want to share a bit about your journey, maybe how you came about to joining Yari and your passion towards finance matters or accounting and finance.
Okay, yes, not a lot of people know my journey.
Yeah.
So I studied at NTU, accountancy, 3 years. Upon graduation, I joined Big Four, one of the Big Four, which is KPMG. I did audit work for 3 years. So that's the usual path for people who pursue accountancy in their studies, right? 60% of my cohort back then joined the Big Four, so doing audit work. And usually after that, they will progress to the corporate world. So similarly, I took that path. 3 years with KPMG, I told myself I will move to the corporate world. So with that, I joined another company. It was listed as well in the education field. I stayed there for 8 years before I joined ERA back in 2011. And actually, this is my 13th year with the company.
Yep.
Despite the changes in ownership, we have 3 owners actually. So as you're aware, ERA was previously owned by Mr. Harry Chua, who founded ERA. And then subsequently, the companies were sold to North Star, which was a private equity fund. And then now, APAC Realty is majority owned by Morgan Stanley, also another PE fund. So during my 13 years here, there have been quite a number of changes with the ownership and with the work that I'm doing.
So maybe throughout your 13 years here, do you want to talk about maybe some experiences where you felt like you have to wear many hats here and there, but then still manage to, step out of your comfort zone?
Correct. So in the last 13 years, I've tried non-finance stuff. So as a CFO, I deal with finance. So actually, non-finance is not my forte. So it's what you say out of your comfort zone. I think it's not a conscious effort, but rather the situation that requires you to step out, and also situations that change that you need to fill in the gap. So if you look, okay, this is again something not everyone knows about. So actually, last time under the ownership of Hersing, so Mr. Chua took on this F&B brand called Timo One.
Right? Yeah.
So not many people knew that actually chairman, Mr. Jack Choi, and myself, actually we sort of have to figure out, after we took on the franchise from Hong Kong, how to actually start F&B, because, ERA is real estate.
Yeah.
We've never done F&B before. So what we had to do, it's kind of interesting, a lot of challenges along the way, but we do learn. And now I can better appreciate the challenges that F&B business faces, right? Like manpower, finding locations, finding people, raw materials, etc. So you have to in when we started the F&B business, you got to be very detailed. We got to do a lot of research. Things like you didn't know, like for example, I bought like pork from NTUC because pork.
Oh, sorry.
Right? sorry. It's okay. Okay, I have to. We have because Timor One is based in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
For many years, they have never ventured out of Hong Kong. Right. So Mr. Chua convinced the Timor One owners to actually let him franchise the business out of Hong Kong. So we had to try a few things. Like for example, the char siu bao, right? The pork is mainly sourced from China, right? China pigs, right? So what if the ingredient change? Like we use pork from Indonesia. So would the taste be different? So, things like I buy from, I buy the stuff from NTUC, I pack it in ice. We flew to Hong Kong, straight away bring to the kitchen, we let them cook, then we taste it to see what's the difference. So it can be as interesting as this, right? And during the operations, we have issues with the kitchen. It was very wet. So we had to renovate again the kitchen for a day or two to make the workflow easier. We had issues with manpower, such as cannot find enough service staff. We have issues with even dishwashers, the people who can wash the dishes, because they come and go. And then we have shortage. I remember there's one evening, one of the staff just quit. And then and then all the plates piled up at one corner. Then I had to go down to resolve this. There was a time when we were short-handed. I did captain for one day. Captain as in help with the queue management and allocation of seats.
Floor manager.
And if you recall back then, Timor One, people were queuing like 2-3 hours just to get a seat in the restaurant. So people be like queuing behind, and then when you actually do it, then you realize the challenges, right? So for example, there's a big group of say 6 to 8 people, and then you would usually ask them, right? Do you want to sit together, or you're okay to split the tables? Because if you split the tables, I can get you a seat earlier. But usually people will be like, oh, it's okay, I waited 2 hours, what is like 15, 20 minutes more, right? For a table of 6 or 8. So that's why if you see some restaurant, they will ask, hey, table for 2, they will ask behind the queue.
Correct.
So they'll move up and fill in the seats so that the turnover can be faster. So when I was doing this seat allocation thing, right, it's quite tough because you got to look at all the seats, right? Who is going to finish their meal soon? So, and then they'll be like, you thought they are going to finish and leave, right? So if let's say 2 or 4 seats beside this table is empty, I will have to put on hold. So that when they leave, I have a table for 6 or 8.
I see.
Right? But if I let go the 2 or 4 seats then to the next person, then forever I will not have a 6 or 8. Because then if there's only a table of 8 people who's leaving, then I've got to wait for that table to leave, right? So the tables have to move. So you got to look ahead, you got to plan. That's why you have to ask how many table for how many people. Then you look at the queue, then you try to deploy. So I did one day doing just this, and I can tell you I learned a lot and I appreciate the challenges. So now when I go to a restaurant, I'm actually more patient because
you experience the other side.
Yeah, because I've seen the other side. It's not easy. If you're managing like people queuing for 2 hours, they are frustrated, who has the patience, right? So they want the table fast. And then people behind the queue be thinking like, they'll be thinking like, there's a table for like 4 people in front. Why are you not moving people to fill in the seats? Why are tables empty? Why are you not turning fast enough? Then you're making me wait longer. Or was that on purpose? So this kind of challenges. Also, I think there was a point where people queued for 2 hours, and when it's their turn at say 7 p.m.
Oh wow.
So the kitchen told me not much items on the menu left, right? All this finish, because back then Timor One was operating on a freshly prepared on the spot, like the bao. They do the fly and everything. They bake
not
it.
instant lah.
Straight come out. It doesn't. It's not like from the central kitchen and all that, right? So they just tell me like 15 minutes. Okay, finish. They don't give me like, oh, I'm going to run out of this in 1 hour's time. They don't tell me that. So in 15 minutes, I maybe have a few more sets of bao left. So you got to tell people that there's no more bao. And Tim Ho Wan, actually, they have what we so-called signature dishes, right?
Yeah.
The cha sao bao, and a few others. We call it 四大天王, the Heavenly Four. I can't remember the other three, but the cha sao bao was the most famous among all. And then people come just to queue to eat this. Right? And you tell them don't have the signature dishes, people get frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
Then on the spot, I just have to try to be creative. I took some cards, I sign on it, I tell them next time, you come back, no need to queue. You look for me. Right? No need to queue because you already queued 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right? So we had to do some what we call service recovery. Just like I think in real estate, you do service recovery if things go wrong. So similarly, I applied the same kind of concept. That was for Tim Ho Wan. So in my 13 years, I also tried something out of finance, and one of them is being an auctioneer. So auctioneer is related to real estate, but unusual for a CFO. I don't think you can find a CFO who have done as an auctioneer before. So this thing came about when we wanted to start an auction department in ERA. ERA used to have an auction department, but for some reasons, it was closed down before I joined the company. So, and one day, Jack decided to restart this auction department.
Okay.
And because it's you don't say it's a new venture, but it's something that we want to try out.
Correct.
Right? I'm not going to employ a team of like 4 to 5 people to come in, and then if it doesn't work, then I have an issue, right? I have to incur costs. Then after that, I have to let them go. Yeah. So we don't want to go down that route. So we want to test out first. We were not sure, right? The consultancy firms were doing like Knight Frank, JRL, CBRA, they were doing. But ERA wanted to try because I think the agencies are not known for auction. But with our pool of agents, I think we should be able to do something, right? So we started an auction department. I had to go for some auction, go to some auction houses and observe how they do their auction. So you copy here and there, and then we adapt from here, like how they put up their listing, how they do their auction, what's the process, etc. Then we created our website, we created the forms. Then we're going to start talking to banks. So it's a good thing because valuation, we have a valuation department and they deal with banks. So they already know people inside. So we managed to get a few banks on our panel. So we started doing. But it wasn't easy because for the first 6 months, 0 sales. Right, we took the listing for 1-2 months. If we can't sell, we got to return back to the bank. The bank will circulate to other houses. So we tried this. It took us about 9 months before we did the first deal. I still remember it was a residential property at Citygate, not the one at Beach Road. It's a small boutique development, right? Not a full-fledged condo. So we managed to sell that for around 800,000. It was a good deal for the buyer. So it was a small deal, but we were very happy because we broke the egg.
Yeah.
So shortly after, we had a few more deals. I think in my 2 years, we sold about 40 million.
Wow.
So actually, it was only a 2-man team, myself and an ex-colleague who was in valuation. Used to be in valuation department, so he also like put on another hat part-time. So he helped me with the paperwork, he helped me with viewing. I also did viewing.
Oh, is it?
Yes, because we have auction properties and if buyers are interested. I still remember this strata landed house, Bukit Timah area. So it was a basement, 2 basement and 3 stories. So it's like 5 stories. So as you know, auction properties, no electricity, right? Cut off, no electricity. And then when people come, I had to show like 4 or 5 groups of buyers. So every viewing, I have to go from like basement all the way to floor by floor to level 5, and then you go down back to level 1, right? You have to show them all the different floors. So I did that for all the groups. That was when I realized actually agents quite tough, quite tough. I mean if it's for landed or under the hot sun and all that. So you had to do viewing, and it can be very physically tiring.
Yeah.
Right. So I appreciate the job of an agent more. So during my time when we did the auction, so we had some traction. The business did well. Then we found a team. Okay, we put together a team, and then I passed over the auction part of the business to this group of professionals. I wasn't a professional auctioneer, but I learned along the way. You have to hold the hammer, then I have to know how to top and all that. So that was the process as an auctioneer. So another one that I did, which is non-finance related, was actually being a data protection officer for ERA.
Oh, yeah.
So the law came in 2014. The PDPA came into effect in 2014. And then legal and compliance usually will be the first person you think of to be appointed as a DPO, because this is compliance, right?
Yeah.
So back then we had someone from legal to take up this role. So about 6 months into the year where the law came into effect, that manager resigned. So we were in the midst of finding somebody, but we also had to find a replacement for the DPO. So this vacancy, so-called this vacancy came about, and then I was thinking who to replace, right? We had to find someone to come in to replace this person. But then we were thinking, if it's a new person trying to know the business and had to put on the head of a DPO, whether the person can do it, right? The law was pretty new. So I think the CEO back then, Jack, actually thought of me, actually. So I also, maybe I sensed it as well. So one day I went to his room, I asked him, there's this DPO we need to appoint. We quickly have to find someone now because the law just came into effect and there are things to be done. So he also asked me whether I want to take on this head of a DPO. So I came prepared. So I sort of know, maybe he wanted me to take on this role. So I say, okay, I will try.
Yeah.
Right. But data protection to me was very new back then in 2014. So I have to attend courses, no choice. Right? You have to attend courses.
You attend yourself, or we send you, or ERA send you? Or
No. So in order to do the job, okay, when the law came into effect, a lot of companies have to appoint DPO. So not many people are like legal trained and all that, right? So the small companies, maybe they don't even have a legal department.
Yeah.
They either have to outsource or find somebody to be the DPO. And the law doesn't say who can be a DPO. Even receptionists can be the DPO.
Oh.
Right? So, but if you are serious in this, then you have to send your staff to attend all the courses. So there are courses that is being provided by firms out there.
Yeah.
Right? It's a two-day full day course. Full day course. You get a certificate saying basic data protection.
Oh.
Right? Courses. Right? You attend a 2-day. They will explain to you what is PDPA, as a DPO, what's your role, as responsibilities, etc., etc. So I went for that 2-day course. That was basic, but I attended, and I thought I should go a bit further.
Oh, okay.
So I think ERA, our agents, the companies hold a lot of personal data.
Yeah.
Okay, so PDPA is about personal data. We hold a lot of personal data. I think we have to take it with care, because any breaches will bring ERA in a bad light. Yeah. Our reputation will be affected. So I went for another course, which was pretty new. It's a CIPM course. It's a internationally recognized certificate for privacy professionals.
Oh.
Privacy. So so personal data is a part of privacy, right? When we say, hey, there's a lack of privacy.
Yeah.
Right, you took my data and all that. So privacy encompasses personal data protection. So there's this US-based provider that does this certification. It was relatively new at that time. So I joined batch 2, if I remember correctly. They are batch 2. So I remember later on batch 3 or batch 4, they are actually people from PDPC. So PDPC is the governing body regulating PDPA in Singapore. So they have actually people who went to sit for that course as well. But I think it was 1 or 2 batch after me.
Yeah.
So I was the earlier part who actually set in for this course and passed the test. And then I had this certification from 2014 until now. That's like 10 years. So I'm a certified privacy professional.
Wow.
But I don't like practice it. I don't draft policies on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis. And I'm glad that I have passed on this to our legal head,
Yeah.
right, Nicholas, to take on the role of a TPO, because I was like actually meant to be the person in the interim, right, to
Yeah,
cover the gap.
yeah.
But with a blink of an eye, I was dead for about 8 years
Oh my God.
to 2022.
Is it
But
because...
I mean, it's something I learned.
Yeah.
That knowledge and all that will stick with me for 8 years. I think again, not many CFO have done the TPO role.
Yeah.
Right? Usually be under the compliance legal or someone else. Usually not a CFO. Right? So again, I wouldn't say it's a conscious effort or forced by situation. I think it comes naturally. So I think if your mindset is okay, let's just try, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you fail, you won't die.
So do you think
So
maybe...
if I cannot do the job, then I find someone to take over. It's not end of the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like for example, auction. I think the startup was tough, but I think it was fun, right? Holding the hammer. And I still remember the time when I closed the deal, when I hammered that. Oh, the feeling was quite surreal, right? Finally, we broke the egg after 8 or 9 months. So there was a feeling of satisfaction. So I think, as you know, finance also sometimes can get quite boring. So it's good to try new things. And even though my experience doing the Timoan F&B business was about a year, because Yari was sold. So the Timoan business
Also...
taken over by another group of people. So that 1 year, I also learned a lot on F&B, right? Because we have to do the accounts, payments to the workers. So a bit unusual for F&B is actually, if you are not aware, actually they want to be paid every 2 weeks.
Oh.
Like employees like us, we get paid once a month, right? Or civil service once a month. But in the F&B business, these workers, they want to be paid 2 weeks. That's because a lot of turnover as well. So every 2 weeks they want to get paid. They don't want to wait 1 month for it.
I understand.
That's why the turnover is actually quite high, because they move around. And Singapore, we actually have a shortage of manpower. And it doesn't help when government have all the quotas, right? You need to have how many Singaporean, and then you can employ a foreigner. And then it's very hard to find Singaporeans who are willing to do all these jobs because they are not like really high paying.
Correct.
So manpower is an issue in Singapore. But you see the trend. You see F&B going to be more DIY, right? You order on iPad. The food comes. Then after you clear yourself, you clear the table. And the next set.
Automated.
Robot
also. Robot waiter.
I've seen that in Japan. The person who serve you, stand near the table. He do the serving. He collect back everything. So it's very lean in terms of manpower. So we are going to face this issue. So a lot of DIYs, right? Like you clear your own trays and all that because of manpower issues. So these are the challenges of F&B business, which I appreciate better because of my 1 year with Timo One. So in my 13 years, these are the 3 things that I've done, which is non-finance. You can say it's out of comfort zone.
Yeah,
it's because it's definitely something new that you had to do. So of course, doing things new, there's fear.
Correct.
There's self-doubt. So what you do is you try to do a lot of research, right? Before you do it, you find a lot of research. If you have people who have done it before, even better. So you ask for their advice.
Yeah.
Ask for things that you should do, not be doing. And then you just have to start somewhere.
Correct.
So again, I remember, I think it was Tracy, I heard one of her Power Monday episodes, she mentioned, if I'm not wrong, like baby steps.
Yeah,
so it's
momentum,
similar in that sense, because when we start something like when we want to, for example, today you want to set up your own business.
Yeah.
Right? You need to find a shop space. If you are doing physical, then you need to maybe hire some people. You need to think of your maybe company's name. You need to think of what kind of marketing to do. So every small part of this makes up the business.
Correct.
And every part, I'm sure we are not experts in everything. So along the way, you definitely make mistakes. You try to make less mistakes. You try to make less costly mistakes. through your research or through checking with your friends, finding out more. You learn from other people's mistakes, so you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. So like you say when it comes with experience, maybe perhaps the reason why you were prepared for like the data protection officer role was you already were put in position where you are not doing anything finance related like the team of one and the auctioneer, right? So maybe because when leading up, you already knew that if you're going to take the data protection officer role, but you are okay with it because you already had done other roles before. So
Correct.
do you think that plays a part as well?
Yes. So if you have tried something out of your comfort zone once,
Then it's gonna
and
be
you've gone through you've gone through that process, right? Again, if you do something new, there's always that process that you have to go through.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Before finally you're comfortable again.
Correct.
Right. So if you have if the situation arises or you had to do something out of your comfort zone, I think it's just repeating that cycle again. Right. Of course, every experience is different, but I think you can apply the same kind of process and the work that you have done, and then apply it differently on a different project.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I wouldn't say I have a very open mindset, but I think if you are willing to try. So if you are willing to try, then it makes it easier.
I see.
So if you are not willing and then people have to push you, then you may drag your feet and all that. So that will make the process even harder.
Yeah.
So I think, again, mindset to try, right? Like today I'm here talking to you. I don't think a lot of people...
Also, is this also out of your comfort zone?
Yes. So this is also my first time, right, in my career that I have to talk in front of the camera and being recorded over like our Power Monday. So it's something that I didn't ask for it, but we had this. We wanted to start something with management, so I say if you put me in, okay, I'll just do it.
Nice.
Just like I think a lot of things are not natural. We are not trained for it. Like standing in front of the stage, talking to people, you stumble, maybe you say the wrong words. Then when you talk a lot of sounds that you make, maybe some gestures that you make because it's very unnatural.
Yeah.
Right?
Then you try to
It's very unnatural. So, but again, if you do it one time, no good. 2 times, no good. 5 times, 10 times, just like practicing. A lot of people say practice makes perfect. So you just practice, you just do it until it becomes second nature. Right? If every day you have to talk to the public or a group of, say 200 audience, right? 200 people audience, you just keep talking, whether scripted, non-scripted, whether is it dialogue or whether it's a public speech or is it doing a presentation. So when you just talk, you just practice, you get natural and natural, you will get less nervous.
Yeah, becomes
right.
easier.
You get less nervous, then you'll be more natural. Then you can talk better.
Yeah.
So things will get better. Then it becomes second nature. Then you're very comfortable. Then you're in your comfort zone already.
Yeah.
Then maybe you have to do something like maybe Garrett do acting, right? If you go and do part-time acting, then that's out of your comfort zone. So I'm sure along the way in our journey, personal or professional in your job, there'll be occasions that you have to step out of your comfort zone. Whatever gets comfortable will be comfort zone. And then something happens, you have to be outside of your comfort zone.
And also you need to stick to it, right? You cannot, when you already you step out your comfort zone already, then you give up easily. Like maybe at your point of time during the auctioneer and Team 1 days, was there a moment where you thought to yourself, I should have just stick to...
Yeah, when we did... when I did auction for the first 6 months, every auction, we couldn't sold anything.
Yeah.
Either during the auction or after that private treaty. The people who turned up, not many, because ERA was just trying to build our brand as an auction house. So we are trying to reach out to people, to get people to come in. We are trying to reach out to our agents to bring interested buyers to attend our auctions. So firstly, you have to get people to attend. Then you have to get people interested. Then you have to get buyers. So it's a process. I don't know. I don't know what's the benchmark. I thought like 9 months, at least within a year, we sold something. So it was an achievement. But of course, along the way, you'll be asking yourself, whether we can actually do it, can pull it off.
Yeah.
Right. But when we started, we sort of gave ourselves this timeline. I don't think it was like 2 years. Maybe we're thinking like we try out for 1 year. We see what this leads us. If there's some traction, we'll continue. If not, maybe we have to reconsider. If let's say 12 months, no deals, nothing, we can't even close one property, then we're gonna ask whether we should continue doing the auction. Because it takes up my time, it takes up my partner's time. To do all this, and it's actually if you work out the commission amount, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Right, 800,000 nowadays. HDB it's 1 million. Right, you do a resale, I think you can close it easier. You don't have to run a auction process.
Yeah.
Right, auction process, you have to do the EDM. Throughout the EDM, you have to send out to people, you have to blast out to people. Sometimes maybe you have to mail out. Like if this property is in this development, you can send out mailers to the people staying here.
Yeah.
Right, because you never know, right? Their family member may want to buy a unit to stay near the family.
Correct.
So we have to try a few ways to get leads. So that was back then. If the 1 year we don't close the deal, maybe ERA don't have an auction department.
Understand.
So things could have turned out very differently. When you do something new, you face challenges, obstacles.
Correct. So before we end off, Yong, any final words to those who are still afraid to step out of their comfort zone?
Okay, so it can be a pull or push factor. Maybe someone put you in that situation,
Correct.
like push you out of a comfort zone, or you wanting to step out of comfort zone when the situation or the opportunity arise. I think we just have to grab it.
Yeah.
Right, we just have to grab it. Like I say, you just try, you won't die, right? You stay in front of the stage, you make a fool of yourself, that's it, right? You won't die, right? You won't die. So, but you have to try, because otherwise, if you don't try, you never know.
Understand.
So to try, again, baby steps, small steps, or small wins to reach your ultimate goal, like auction department. Maybe your immediate target is not to close the deal. If I can at least, it can be as simple as at least one person raise hand, during your auction. I still remember the first few auctions. It's like I will introduce like 5-6 properties, right? And it's so quiet. I'm the only one talking.
Very awkward, right?
I'm not talking. I say, any offers, please put out a hand. Nobody put out a hand. They look at me, I look at them. Then it's like, I also don't want the auction to end in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, so I drag on a bit. I talk again about the property. I lengthen a bit, let people think about it, and then no people raise hand.
Yep.
Quite awkward. So we did that a few times. Nobody put in an offer. So actually, I was thinking the next one, if someone just put their hand up, I'll be very happy. Not just to sell, right? Just put the hand up. So there's engagement.
Yeah.
So small things like the way. Then as you can see, things start to get better. There are people who put in offers, can be low ball offer, it's okay. At least you offer me something, right? So I have actually got people interested, just that the price didn't match what the bank wants.
Understand?
Right? So at least I got people interested.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 hand, 2 hand, the price can move up closer to the reserve price that the banks were asking. So things like that, small things, like you said, small targets, right? People offer. Then the next thing is maybe a serious offer comes in. Then that's when a few months later, we actually managed to close the deal. Right? So you have to set small targets,
Understand.
right? Maybe when you talk, maybe in front of the stage, your first objective is, okay, I try not to say wrong things, right? Your first thing is not to say wrong things. Then maybe you look back, you say, okay, there's certain things that you can do better. Then you try to correct that. So it adds up. So you do this, you do this, you do this. So after 10 tries, 10 times doing, 20 times doing, you definitely get better.
Correct.
So I think we are all not born to do all the things. Start to walk, we start to run.
Yeah.
So we pick up along the way. So once you have that open mindset, it's easier. It's easier to do it. Yeah. So I've done things like that. So if one day something, a new challenge comes in, I'll approach it using the same way I've done previously.
Nice. Hopefully there's more because I would like to see you in other episodes. Okay, Chee, thank you so much for joining us in today's Power Money episode. Now remember guys, stepping out of your comfort zone is a journey where you move past what feels safe and familiar to explore new opportunities and grow in ways you never imagined. So just continue to stick to it and you will get there eventually. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We hope you found Chee Yong's insight as inspiring as I am. I am. So remember, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment on the YouTube channel and continue to follow us on Spotify. And remember, Yong Mondays don't have to be blue again. Stay tuned for more powerful episodes. And until next time, keep pushing forward and stay empowered as we continue to rise by raising others. That's been Chee Yong and me. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you, Taufik. Thank you, everyone.
Power Monday, where your Mondays will never be blue again.